What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So it's been a couple days since I've recorded anything. We got a couple things we need to do today to the STI. So the other day I noticed that there was a bunch of grease on the inside of my front passenger side wheel. So it turns out that the CV boot was torn. As you can see here, I'm not really sure how that happened. Maybe it hit something. I'm not sure, but for there to be two cracks like that, that's kind of crazy. But good thing I caught that pretty much right when it started. I did get quite a bit of grease up in here. I cleaned a little bit of it off, but it was quite a mess. So I decided I would just take out both the front axles, and I'm just going to go ahead and replace all the boots, put new grease and everything. The other ones were pretty brittle. They weren't cracked yet, but it's probably just a matter of time. So I got you see down here, I got these axles completely torn apart. Because this is an earlier model STI, it was made before September of 2003. It actually takes this different boot, which is a lot bigger than the rest of them, so I had to go online and order all the boots. I tried O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Napa, Advanced Auto Parts, all those places. None of them had the right size boots, so we just need to wait for that to come in. So hopefully it's just a couple days. But in the meantime, I figured why not replace a couple more things. So we went ahead and picked up some new tie rod ends. So we're gonna throw those in there. I already took the old ones off. You can see here, I do have an alignment appointment. So as soon as I get these boots in, I'll go ahead and take it in, get it all aligned. So I'm gonna try to get these tie rods as close as I can. Also, we got a cylinder 4 cooling mod we need to put in there, and also a new power steering pump. The power steering pump in there right now it's leaking. If you look back in here, but if you look down there, you can kind of see it's kind of wet. But so this power steering pump is leaking. I noticed when I got underneath the car, you could see, I thought it was oil, but you could see that something was leaking down from behind the timing cover and kind of following right along where the head meets the block. So I was thinking that maybe my head gasket was leaking already, which would have really sucked, but I'm pretty sure it's just the power steering fluid. It's just working its way down the front of the motor and coming up underneath. So we're gonna go ahead and get that thing replaced today also. So I think I'm probably just gonna go ahead and screw these guys on there real quick. I can't really completely install them because I do have to put the axles back in there, and those need to be disconnected so that the hub can swivel out like that. So we'll do that, drain all the coolant so we can get this cooling mod in there, and then we can also go ahead and take off our power steering pump and get this other one in there. So let's go ahead and get started with those tie rod ends. It should only take a second. You just got to screw them in there, and that's probably about it. And then we'll go ahead and drain the coolant. All right, guys. So right here we got the tie rod. I'm just gonna put a little bit of anti-seize on there, just in case we ever have to take it off there again. It should be pretty easy, and it should help them when they go to align it. So these are pretty simple. I mean, just screw this thing on there, and we'll do the same with the other side. Hopefully it's kind of close. I didn't really turn this nut very much, so hopefully this is right about where we want it to be. And I'm just gonna leave them both like this for now, because like I said, we got to get the axle in here. So I don't really want to get this thing completely mounted up in here yet. So we'll run over and do the other side. All right, guys, we got our new tie rod ends on there. This side, we got that side on there. Hopefully they're not off too bad. I don't have to drive too far to get the alignment done, so we'll see what it looks like once we get it all put together. If I need to, I'll adjust it to the best I can as far as eyeballing it. So let's go ahead and move on to our cooling mod. First thing we need to do is we'll drain the coolant, we'll get up under there, and we will cut the lower radiator hose. After we cut the lower radiator hose, then we just take our T, we T into there. We're gonna need to get the plug off the back of the motor, all that stuff. All right guys, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drain the radiator fluid right up under here. Right here, we have the drain for the coolant, so I'm just gonna unscrew that. It'll come out of this little port right here. Then we'll go ahead, we'll come back here. You can see right there, we have to take that plug out, and then we will cut this hose, this lower radiator hose right here. So let's get that radiator fluid drained, pull that plug out of there. Cut this line, we'll tee in right here. We'll thread in our cylinder cooling mod right there. So I got our plug out of there. So we need to screw this fitting in there. I went ahead and put a little bit of ultra gray on the threads. So I'm gonna get that in there. Then we just need to cut that lower radiator hose right there, and we will tee into that. So I'll show you that here in a minute. All right, we got our fitting screwed in right here. If you look up here, this is the lower heater hose right here. So we're just gonna take this and we're gonna tee in right there. So I'm just gonna cut this hose right there. We'll tee in, and then we'll get the other end of the hose on, connecting down here to the head. All right guys, so we got our line right here, and it goes up, and we got our teed off right there, and the lower radiator hose, or the lower heater hose. So I think we are good here. I'm gonna go ahead and move on to the power steering pump. Since we have the radiator drained, it's gonna be a lot easier just to go ahead and take this upper hose off. All right, so I got the upper radiator hose off. I'm gonna go ahead and get this alternator out of there because we need this to take this whole bracket out over here. So get the alternator out of there. The power steering pump is just 3 bolts. There's 2 down here, 1 in the back. So we'll get all those off of there and get the power steering lines taken off also, and try not to make too much of a mess. And then we'll swap this bracket over to the other one. All right, so here's our pumps. That's the one we're gonna put on. This is the old one. We just have to get the bolts out of here. So there's one 14 back here, and then there's a 12 right here and a 12 right here. So we'll pop those off, probably clean up this bracket a little bit and throw it on that one. All right, so we got the bracket all switched over on our new pump. Make sure our connector's on there, and then we just go ahead and put the bolts back in there in the same order we took it off. Pretty simple. So we got one 12mm bolt behind here. We got the 12 back there, and then we got 2 12s right up front. We'll get those on there real quick. All right, we got the 3 bolts holding the power steering pump on there. So now we'll go ahead and connect our lines. Got that one started, so tighten this thing down. Don't want to go too tight, we don't want to strip it out. All right, we'll do this line now. It's a good idea to replace the O-ring. They like to go bad, and then that's usually how you get that kind of power steering whine on these cars. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this off. Make it a little easier to make sure that the O-ring is seated. So we got this O-ring. Goes right on there. And then that goes down there. 10mm bolt holds that down. Same thing, you don't want to get this too tight because these do strip out really easy. All right, we got that on there. We'll connect our line. Make sure all that's connected. That's on there tight, that's on there, so we can put this hose back. Get this one nice and tight. This one, I got 2 on here just for added security, I guess. So our new power steering pump's on there. I'm gonna go ahead and throw the alternator on there and get this belt on there, get it all buttoned up. All right guys, so we got a power steering pump back on there. We got our cylinder 4 cooling mod on and our tie rod ends. So I'm gonna go ahead and fill this thing back up with coolant. Add a little bit of power steering fluid, which is actually, I like to use the synthetic automatic transmission fluid. You don't actually use power steering fluid in these cars. So we'll throw a little bit of that in there, fill the coolant up, and then start her up, make sure we don't got any leaks, and bleed this power steering system and the coolant system. Alright, so I went ahead and let the car run for probably about 10-15 minutes. Everything looked good, we didn't have any leaks. I tried to bleed the power steering the best I could. I went back and forth probably 15-20 times with the cap off. There were no more bubbles or anything. Wasn't making any noise or anything, so hopefully we're good to go on that. I also went ahead and cleaned up our wheels because there was grease all over on the inside of them from the torn CV boots. So that's probably going to be it for this video. I'm going to make it really short. We do have a lot more stuff to do this week, so I'm going to try to cram all the rest of the stuff maybe in 1 or 2 videos. Anyways, so here's the plan. I did go ahead and ordered brand new brake rotors and brake pads all the way around. So those should be here in a couple days. We also have stainless steel brake lines to put on at the same time. Also, I did get a shampooer for our carpet, so I need to get the carpet out for the car and the trunk, get all that shampooed, get that in there. That might take a couple hours later this week also. We have all brand new CV boots. We will get those on there when those get in. Hopefully it's not too long. I really wish the parts stores would have had them, but they didn't, so I did have to order those online. So in our tune, it seems that our injectors are maxing out at about 22 pounds of boost, and my tuner thinks that that's a little premature because they are 950cc injectors, so he thinks we should be able to push a little more out of that. So I just went ahead and ordered a bigger fuel pump and a new fuel filter, all that stuff, so we can kind of knock all that out and see if that's the issue maybe. The fuel filter, who knows when that was changed last. The car did sit for probably 4 or 5 years, so the gas in the tank was disgusting. And when I emptied all the gas out of there, I did run it through that filter, so that might be kind of clogged, and maybe I'm not getting enough fuel pressure when I'm hitting max boost. So we're gonna go ahead, replace the fuel pump, the fuel filter. I ordered a AEM 340 liter per hour fuel filter or fuel pump, so hopefully that gives us a little better flow and brings our injector duty cycles down, so we can try to run a little more boost. If not, I'm fine. I'm fine with 20 to 22 pounds of boost. That's still pretty close to 400 wheel horsepower on this turbo, so I'm not really too worried about it, but it would be nice to have all of that taken care of back there. So we do have that to install. So we'll see. Hopefully I can just get this carpet and everything done tomorrow, because we're gonna have to take the back seat out anyways, so I might as well just strip out the whole interior, get all that stuff out of there, get the carpet done, get that in there, get the fuel pump, get all that on, do the brakes, all that stuff, the axles. Hopefully hopefully we can get all of that stuff done by the weekend. I don't really know how long it's going to take for all the parts to get here. I think the CV boots are what are probably going to take the longest, because everything else has already been shipped and I haven't gotten any confirmation on the CV boots. So that's going to kind of suck if that's the only thing holding us up. But yeah, so I think that's probably going to do it for me today. I'll have a couple more videos this week. So if you like this video, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you guys later.